This theory emerged a few years ago that every man is either a rat or a frog based on like their physical and facial features. This later expanded to include thumb men, like Channing Tatum, for example, and then also bulls, which is kind of just the flip side of thumb. And I took this way too far. I made a presentation with a visual representation of each of these categories and their different like subcategories and combinations, including trifectas. So this is just pause if you want to. This is for people who like words. Breakdown of the features. Let's get into the pictures. Starting off, these are our rat men. So just kind of narrow face or narrow features. Some of them, have maybe a subcategory mixed in, but predominantly rat. All these men are dominantly rat men. Those are rats. Next up, we have our frog men. So kind of larger or wider set eyes, or for lack of a better term, butthole eyes, like Pete Davidson. Rami Malek is our poster child frog boy. Chadwick Boseman, R.I.P. Frogman. Once again, I would argue Usher has some bull mixed in there, but for the sake of the overall visualization, frogman. Next are our thumbs. So these, kind of wider or larger head, maybe narrow features relative to that. Channing Tatum, great example. Shaq, great example. That guy from Game of Thrones, great example. Some of you might be thinking, oh, I know this one guy who's a thumb guy for sure. He might be in a thumb subcategory. Hold on. So last true category, these are bull men. Not particularly narrow or wide eyes, sort of masculine features, masculine subjective, sharper or facial hair, brunette, kind of stronger, sharper features. Now we get into the combos. First up, we have frog rats. So for each of these men, something froggy about them and something ratty about them. John Mulaney's a good example of this. Connor Story, shout out, heated rivalry. Adam Scott is a good example of this. All of them have something froggy and something ratty about their face, Second combo, I would argue this is Hollywood's favorite. These are the bull rats. So something kind of narrow or mousy about their face, but then also something kind of scruff and sharp and strong. So, we got Dev Patel, we got Tupac, we've got all these blondies, all these men in the top corner, those are the same guy in a different font, and you'll have a hard time convincing me otherwise. Combo 3, these are our thumb rats. So a couple of thummy men like Barry Keoghan and Benedict Cumberbatch, but they've got a rattiness to them as well. Tim Robinson also, Christopher, this guy, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. Thumb rats. These are thumb rats, grow up. Oh, and Will Ferrell, have to mention him by name, and Mike Myers. Okay, done. Combo 4, a personal favorite, bullfrogs. So kind of wider set eyes or wider set features, and then also something kind of stronger, sharper about them. Michael B. Jordan, Superman. This guy, also Oscar Isaac. This guy, that's the most bullfrog I've ever seen. Kyle MacLachlan, Mom Donnie, more like Mom Daddy. Am I right? We got a lot of heartthrobs in this category too. Young Johnny Depp, Ralph Macchio, freaking John Stamos, thank you. Combo 5, this is what sparked this entire presentation, was Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime. Amazing halftime, by the way. I saw him on screen, I go, that is the most thumb bull looking guy I've ever seen. And started this whole presentation because of it, so shout out Bad Bunny. John Hamm, thumb bull. Jamie Foxx, thumb bull. New Zac Efron, thumb bull. Prove me wrong. This is our final combo before we get into the trifectas. This is our thumb frogs, okay? All these guys, a little thummy, a little froggy. There's something about them, right? Jared Padalecki, great example of this. Chidi, also a great example of this. John Mayer, whatever. I know a lot of people will be happy to see Rob. Now we're into the trifectas. These will go faster. There are fewer men in each category. This is rat, bull, and thumb. Each of them have a little piece of rat, bull, and thumb, especially this top row here. Adam Driver, Keanu Reeves, John Bernthal, guy from American Horror Story. Strong argument. I stand by this. I thought Bautista might have frog in him, but I think it's just the thumb and bull combined with the rat face. Anyway. Rat, frog, thumb. So rat frog with a little bit of thumb mixed in. For example, Joe, Leo DiCaprio, Alex Poulter, freaking John Cusack, John Krasinski, Andrew Garfield, Jason Sudeikis. You know these guys. You know and love them. Rat frog thumb. Next is bullfrog thumb. So kind of wider set eyes, maybe a little thumminess, but also something sharper masculine. So Hudson Williams is a good example. Superman without a beard. Odile. Vince Vaughn's a great example. Post-surgery, Kumail Nanjiani. Pre-surgery, you might remember he was a frog rat. Post-surgery, now he's frog bull thumb. The last trifecta is rat, frog, bull. So Pedro Pascal, I think, is the best example of this. A little ratty, a little froggy, but also some bull. Ben Stiller, Hugh Jackman, the guy from Bridgerton, freaking Young Pacino, Freddie Mercury, A$AP Rocky, Dave Franco. You know these guys. Hello. Finally, we have the Enigma, Jacob Elordi, who is simultaneously all 4 categories, but somehow only a couple in some category. Like this, that's rat bull. And then over here, that's frog thumb. What is happening? But that's like also rat frog. He breaks my brain. He breaks my brain. Now at this point, some of you might be asking yourselves, why should I give a rat's ass? Why should I care about this whole thing? Well, first of all, it's fun. It's kind of fun. And second of all, it's useful. You can use it to visualize future children. You can improve pattern recognition, compare men to animals, but in a nice way, not in a rude, derogatory way, just objectively froggy or ratty or bully or thummy, whatever. This is a new language that we can use to describe our types, to describe people's physical demeanors in a way that's playful and silly and helps us understand and not harmful or derogatory. It's just like, oh, he's kind of like a frog thumb. And that's, Part of me wants to make a lady version, but part of me is also terrified to do that and doesn't really want to. I think it's different animals. I think it's like bunny, fox, swan, doe, and maybe some other ones too. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for your precious time. I hope this was helpful, entertaining, or both.